CJ Flyer back with the final another YouTube video. We finally got through yesterday all 30 NBA teams playing in their respective games, and we got some drama as usual in the NBA. The Milwaukee Bucks continue to lose games, and you got to imagine at this point Doc Rivers is on the hot seat. Another close loss to Cleveland, this time in Cleveland. We look at the box score here. Giannis was not playing. He was announced as being out shortly before the game started, I believe. It was after I recorded yesterday's video, so we had no indication that Giannis was not playing at that time. So you take a look, and who took over for that scoring load? Well, that would be Bobby Portis and A.J. Green. Look at that shooting from A.J. Green. 7 of 9 from 3, 6 rebounds. Man, what a way to step up as Milwaukee is attempting to get their second win of the season. Not able to do it. Dame also had a really great game. 5 of 9 from 3, shooting 50% from the field, 7 assists. The only thing that's a bit of an eyesore is these 8 turnovers, but when you are the lone star player on the active roster that day, you're bound to have more turnovers than usual. That's pretty common. So, honestly, most of the team played pretty well. Not too bad. We look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, however, they also played a really great game. Darius Garland just went off. 39-point performance, 15 of 22 from the field, another 8 assists from him as well. So at this point, you just have to imagine what's up with the Milwaukee Bucks. What is in the water in Milwaukee? Because, my goodness, management's made some pretty terrible coaching hires, it seems like, early on here. With Doc Rivers as the head coach, Darvin Ham as the assistant coach. We've talked about it before, and I'll say it again. As far as the available coaches in the coaching pool, those guys have to have the worst of the best track records. You know, if we're talking about coaches that are widely accepted as having good NBA head coaching experience, you know, Doc Rivers winning that championship in 2008, obviously riding the wave of that. That is a pretty big wave. That was 16 years ago at this point. But he has the experience. He's done it before. It's been a while, but he's done it. You know, think of it like Phil Jackson, you know, when he was brought on by the Knicks to help out with what they had going on in the management space. So, yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. Darvin Ham, you can make the argument, hey, look, he got the Lakers to a Western Conference Finals. Although a lot of Lakers fans will probably tell you that was more LeBron's player coaching than it was Darvin Ham's actual coaching. But the track record still stands. So, you know, and of course they're both former NBA players. They have experience playing in the league. They know how things go, and they've been on teams with good players. So, like Doc Rivers, Atlanta Hawks played with Dominique Wilkins. Darvin Ham, wasn't it the Pistons, I think? Anyways, yeah, but you got to imagine at least one of those two guys is on the hot seat at this point. If we look at the standings, Milwaukee right at the bottom. They are tied for worst record in the league after Utah gets their first win of the season last night against the Chicago Bulls. The only win of the season for the Bucks is against the 76ers, who are the second worst team in the East. So that's not looking very good. And the only reason the Sixers are the second worst team in the East is because they're missing their best two players, which, of course, one of them returned last night, Paul George, having his NBA season debut for the 2024-2025 NBA season. But yeah, Milwaukee, not looking good. This is like, how many teams? I feel like Doc Rivers has been on the hot seat of every team he's been on ever since he left the Celtics. It's not a good look. It's really not. I kind of want to see if he gets a contract buyout. He's got to be one of the highest paid non-active coaches in the league at that point. Because isn't Philly still paying for his contract, I think? I don't know. But that being said, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Will Milwaukee bounce back, win some games, or will they fire one of their coaches mid-season? Personally, I think Doc Rivers the coaching carousel in Milwaukee's been insane. They fired Bud, they brought in Adrian Griffin, they fired Adrian Griffin halfway through the season. They brought in Doc Rivers. I don't know how much money the owners have to spare, but I would think they're going to hold on to Doc for at least the remainder of the season. I think it's way too early to let him go. You could always have Darvin Ham be the scapegoat. Could totally see Doc Rivers throwing him or someone else under the bus. So, as far as moves that Milwaukee can make, they don't have a lot of assets on the team. I mean, I guess they have some tradable players, but they're also guys that you would want on the team for a championship run. But heck, forget a championship run. They're just trying to make the play-in at this point. It is pretty early still. It's an 82-game season, but it's not looking good. So that being said, looking at the other results from games yesterday, again, all 30 NBA teams played. Warriors got the win on the road. We got the Pistons getting the win at home against the Lakers. Anything notable? Memphis and Brooklyn, that was a really close game. I'm going to have a separate video on Zach Edey. Let's say tomorrow. We'll have a separate video tomorrow on Zach Edey. He had a great performance. Let me just bring that up. For those of you that are not familiar with this channel and the videos I post, I'm a huge Zach Edey fan because I am a Purdue fan. So 11 of 12 from the field, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks, 25 points. Yeah, I mean, come on now. You know what I'm saying? And the foul issue's not really an issue anymore. One personal foul there. His last few games, not so many fouls. It's looking good in Memphis with Zach Edey. Going back to the rest of the games, Kings win a nail-biter in Miami. New York loses. They were favored to win that game. And then, of course, my Dallas Mavericks. It was a classic Pacers game, very high scoring. Of course, as Pacers games always seem to be, the final score is 134 to 127. Both teams got pretty close, if not at 100 points by the end of the third quarter. And a lot of players had a lot of good games. Clay had a solid game, not 20 plus points, but his percentages were good. He was contributing. PJ Washington's trying to make his case for Defensive Player of the Year as he got 3 blocks. He's continuing to make a difference on the boards, make a difference in the steal and blocks categories game after game. Kyrie had a good scoring game. Luka had a good scoring game. Shout out to Najee Marshall, man. Oh, man, this was Najee Marshall's coming out party. Derek Lively was out this game, and Dallas ran a lineup that had Najee Marshall at the 5. And him being a ball handler, too, he just got incredibly aggressive. He's usually more like a facilitator on offense, but he was cooking, man. Najee Marshall is like slowly becoming one of my favorite like bench players on the Dallas Mavericks roster. That being said, tough loss, but a lot of good things to see from the game. Indiana was hot. Miles Turner having a really great game, 30 points and 11 boards. So unfortunate loss for the Mavs, but I liked what I saw, especially from Najee Marshall for the long term. Nuggets have a close win against Toronto. Suns have a close win against the Sixers in Paul George's debut. Let's go ahead and look and see how this all compares to the predictions that I made. And I had a little bit of time since, there's no games today. I went ahead and added this column here. Are the betting odds correct? And so now I have my score of how many games I got right and wrong and how many games that the FanDuel Sportsbook odds got right and wrong. Again, I'm not affiliated with them, not promoting or encouraging sports betting, gambling. I just thought it'd be fun to compare and just share my opinions. So if you're going to do it responsibly. And that being said, I'm beating the FanDuel Sportsbook odds by 1 game right now. So it's pretty difficult. I have quite a few games here. You can see where the green and the reds are not lining up. Quite a few games where I'm going against the betting odds. So not bad. Not bad to start the season. We're up by 1. For the remainder of the videos, I'm probably going to hide this column just because it gets a little messy and a little confusing, and I know the text is really small on the screen there. But we'll leave the scores up, and we'll continually look at the scores here. I just, trying to hide columns to make it less messy, if you will. I could also probably increase the size of the screen. Honestly, I could do something like that. That would probably be easier to see, wouldn't it? Then we can scoot this over to the right a little bit. Yeah, you know what? We should probably do something like that. There you go. Yeah, I think let's have it zoomed in for now. This looks much better, much more legible, right? Let me know what you think in the comments down below about the Milwaukee Bucks, about the Dallas Mavericks, and what changes they should make. And click one of the videos on your screen right now for some more NBA discussion content.